The Blackstone endless side quests. Loading complete.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Blackstone podcast, the bargain bin of side quests, where we grab all of the wonderful quests and talk to all the wonderful people. As you can see, we got a little bit of a larger group today. So, as usual, I've got Kimmer and Les with me, and introducing you guys from the Double D podcast is Kev. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about everyone else?
I'd say I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Just been working a lot, but it's money, so money's good.
Get that podcast arm for you soon.
I'm
Yes.
fine. I'm good. Everything's fine.
He is depressed.
Toxic game aftermath. Yep. We got it. League of Legends players, we all feel it.
It happens. Just Griff. Just all I gotta say is continue to be toxic.
Hell yeah.
You know what? My brother has the best way of dealing with toxicity. He's master rank in Overwatch and a whole bunch of other games. Like, he's a super good player. When he deals with toxic people, he just tells them that he loves them and that he hopes they have a good day. He's like just overly positive. And somebody actually tried to get him banned on Overwatch because he just like, my team sucks. I need to camp this sniper who's just taken out our team. So he went camping with Junkrat. And somebody tried to get him banned. And when they reviewed the VOD, he got an email from the team saying, "You are the most positively toxic player they've ever dealt with." They reversed the ban. So it's kind of funny. Like, if you go into the game with a good attitude and you keep the good attitude, even if people try to get you reported and all that stuff, it just ends up backfiring them on the first place. And if you're talented, it's another thing too. But on that little quick note, let's let Kev, for those of you who don't know, just do a little brief introduction, who you are, what you do, what you like, all that kind of stuff.
Hello, I'm Kevin, aka Rendar 2016. I read comics. I collect Lego, and I like to just do my own thing sometimes.
Yeah, and for those of you who do watch the Double D podcast, he's very much got his fingers on the pulse of the world. So I had the fortune of joining you guys last week, and that was actually really fun. We are hoping that Epic Kitty Face will show up, but he may have gone back to bed because we are recording pretty early in the morning. Everybody's kind of...
I actually have a quick update on that. He just texted and said that he's about ready. So
okay. He'll join us in a few minutes. So while we're waiting for him, let's ponder a quick question. So I've been playing StarCraft 2 this week just because I felt like it.
StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I felt like playing the storyline again. I hadn't played it in a couple of years through the storyline. I've played co-op with my brother and some online stuff, but I hadn't done the storyline in quite a long time now. So my question for you is, like, I don't approve of hacks and cheats and shit in multiplayer games, but what do you think about cheating in single player? Now, I don't have 20 hours to go through campaigns and stuff like that. So I'm just running the game, just using the regular built-in cheats, like no big deal. But it's more for me, it's like, I just want to relive the storyline. I don't give a fuck about the gameplay. Like, I'm just literally I want to watch the cutscenes. I want to, play the story, all that kind of stuff. So how do you guys feel about that? Because my rule is, if I finish the game, I don't care if I cheat afterwards, right? But I would never do it on an online multiplayer game because that just isn't fair. It's not good for competitive integrity, and it fucks everybody else over, right? So just in the context of single player, where do you guys stand on that? I always think it's kind of interesting because everybody's like, oh, mods this, mods that, mods this, Skyrim, where you can get like the leveler's tower and be level 100 on the first 5 minutes of the game, that kind of stuff. But where do you guys sit on? Like, does it make the game more fun? Does it make the game worse? Like, where do you guys sit on that?
Personally, in my opinion, I think that has to go on just your personal preference. For me, if I've already beaten a game and it's a game that I want to relive, or I want to try something different or anything, like I'll say, like, oh, honestly, and I don't know if this is really cheating because it's built into the game now. But when you buy a Final Fantasy game on Steam,
the New Game Plus,
or new ones, you can actually have your guys run. Oh.
Go ahead.
Well, what I was saying is because the Final Fantasy, when you buy it on Steam or anything, the newer games, even if you buy the older version, there's a fast forward feature where your guy runs like ×4 speed or ×2 speed. Personally, I'm a huge fan of that because the original speed, man, that is slow as hell compared to what like newer games are. You at least run a little bit faster.
Or
So you
have
don't need to
fast
use the
travel.
forward, and stuff like that. And so it's like I'm a fan of that, but I don't really cheat more than that, I guess, and I don't even really call it cheating. But I would guess for like Skyrim and stuff like that, yeah, if you play through it. I've never played StarCraft, so I'm not sure uh, how you would even cheat on that. But
Well, StarCraft uses the chat function, and you just type in a command, and then you get minerals or God mode and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't have the time to sit there and play the full campaign the way that it's meant to be played. So I'm just
Sure.
reliving the story is what I'm doing. The only game I've ever cheated on stream was Mass Effect, and I don't really like it is cheating, but I don't want people watching my stream watching me farm minerals because that's boring as fuck. So I just use the
Yeah.
cheat to give myself minerals and say fuck it. There's no God mode, and I don't have like hundreds of millions of credits. Well, actually I do, but that's because I've New Game Plus like 6 times. So all the money carries over, so it's built up. But that's the only time that I've ever done that on stream. But the mining minerals, especially in Mass Effect 2, and paying for fuel. I always put the unlimited fuel on there. That's fucking stupid. It's just it ruins the gameplay. But I mean, can I still die, and do I die on stream? A lot. Have I ever passed a game on insanity? No, I have not. I am nowhere near that skilled, and I have got my ass handed to me. I would literally have to cheat my way to do that, and I won't do it. I haven't passed it on insanity.
Yeah.
So like, but that's where I stand. Like, I'm gonna look at you, Dekel, because you're obviously a little late to the podcast. So where do you stand? Like, were you the kind of kid that used to do like the Konami code and all that stuff when you were playing like on console? Because I know that you play most of your games on console.
Yeah. Now, see, honestly, I never really like you said, I never really cheated on the games before, but I did used to have fun. Like after I beat San Andreas, for example, I put in like the cheat codes where you get like the super jump and all that shit. So, like you said, I'll beat the game first and then I'll use like a cheat code or something. But
Right.
as far as like me playing the game itself, like my first playthrough or second or whatever, nah, I'll use cheat codes honestly. And like to make things a little bit spicier, ever since I've like grown up, I've always try or play the game my first time on the hard difficulty, not the hardest one, but the standard hard, so that
Right.
way I can learn better and get my skills up. But as far as like cheating and stuff on the video games, nah, I never really was the type to do that. I like to challenge myself, honestly. Cheat codes make things too easy, and they got a cheat code for them to everything. So
I'm with it.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Make
So-
my life easy.
I'm gonna leave Kev for last, just because I know he's got a really strong opinion on this, just by the way he's looking. So I'm gonna touch on that. But for Dekel and Lust, you like me have a family situation.
Yeah.
So when I go to relive the stories of games, unless it's one that I can easily pass in like 30 minutes, like Mega Man 2, which is what I was talking about last time, does it make sense to find ways of speeding up the game, whether it's a built-in feature like Kimmer was saying with the fast forward and stuff like that? Because all of us have very limited time. Like, we can't sit and play 8 to 10 hours a day. It's just not feasible for our lives. We can't do it. So how do you guys cope with something that you're into, that you're doing a replay value? Because I'm pretty sure we can all agree that, cheat the second time through or third time through, never the first time. But
Yeah.
for you guys with families, like, how do you get through your game in an appropriate amount of time? Or do you just sit there and go, well, I guess I'm playing this for the next 6 months at an hour at a time? Like what do you guys do? Like, let's start with you, Lest.
Cut down the amount of like tasks you do in the game. Like, see, I always play like RPG games, for example.
Right.
So I know I can't spend all my time doing all side quests. So I'll do enough to stay at the level that I'm supposed to be on while progressing in a story. I'm not gonna just, spend all my time doing all the side quests like I want to because I
Right.
don't have the time to do that like how I used to. So I gotta, shorten my gameplay style and cut them corners. That's all. You gotta cut them corners. Don't
Yeah.
of course, but just do the bare minimum so you could get through the game quicker than traveling around, talking to all the NPCs, doing the side quests, make sure you got the best gear, because that's how I play. But that stuff takes time, like you said, especially when you're
Mhm.
farming for, like, material, EXP. Because look, I was playing Final Fantasy, right? And a part of me wish I had a cheat code to fight Sephiroth, because that motherfucker whooped my ass for 6 hours the other day.
Yep.
Look into that. But it's stuff like that.
What about you, Lest?
That stuff blood.
Uh, for me, I don't play a lot of games that take like an atrocious amount of time specifically because of my family. But if I do play one that takes longer than I would say an average game, which is about 3 to 4 hours or whatever, then I just have to chunk it as best I can. And if it's a replay through or whatever, I still don't tend to use the cheats, and I kind of try to find a better way to figure out the game in a faster way without add-ons. I'm not saying that you can't use the in-game stuff to your advantage. That's fine, and I also have like cheated on playthrough, like replay throughs in the past because I want to have more fun with it. So like to answer both those questions, I kind of just take the time that I have that I'm given, and I try to take advantage of little nuances, like if my wife takes a shower or is on the phone or whatever, click into my game, even if it is only for like 30 minutes. And then for the cheating, it really just depends on how you go about it. Kind of the same opinion. If it's the first time, you know, don't use the cheats, play through it regularly. If it's the second time, have fun.
Yeah.
And also certain games where cheating is more pushed, have fun with it. Who cares? And if you're doing it for streaming purposes too, that's cool too. Like,
Yeah.
there's plenty of people who purposely go on and that's what they do is mod and show the cool mods for their YouTube and streaming, and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
So, Kevin, I'm going to go to you now. I know that cheating is a huge contention in the gaming community, particularly with the multiplayer hacks and wall hacks and aim bots and all that crap that's going out there. The GTA 5 is notorious for having people that are ruining the online experience with their hacks and stuff like that. So, being the guy who's kind of got like the pulse on sort of the more broader spectrum of world viewpoints, I want to ask you, I know the codes in the games, particularly like StarCraft 2, like we were talking about, are for the developers to just bruise through levels so that they can get to a certain point in the game and see if something's buggy, all that kind of stuff. That's what they're originally for. They leave them in the game because some players do it. But these cheats have been incorporated in games for decades. It's nothing new, right? Like the Konami code is probably the most famous one.
Yeah.
But where do you like see like the opinion of people who are just playing games for fun and cheating? Like, is it actually like the old school way of having your handheld like in a tutorial where you can't die and all that stuff rather than learning the game? Or is it something that's made for, because I know a lot of gamers who physically can't play first person shooters. Like they have carpal tunnel, all those kinds of things. So when they go to play a game like, say, Mass Effect or anything where it is kind of a third or first person shooter and they have those limited dexterities, is it fair for them to be able to use it? Or is the gaming community, right, like, all cheating is bad and angry? And like, what's that conversation like from your point of view?
From my point of view, from like 10 years ago to that conversation to now, I think it's more acceptable to do certain types of cheating because everyone, like we all said, we all got time management skills that we can't spend. Like certain streamers, we cannot spend 10 to 12 hours straight streaming or playing a game anymore. sound like we were in high school or middle school. And as long as you don't, as long as like you're going for a record or anything, as long as you're having fun, you should be fine. I remember back in the day when you used to fake uh uh the airstrikes in Call of Duty. In Call of Duty, if you fake that on YouTube, holy crap, that would be the most cancelable stuff on YouTube. And now everything else is just like, no, it's because you're not playing with the same friends or you're not playing the same games, your community turns against you. And now it's just like, oh, you'll go on Reddit or yeah, you'll go on Reddit and just see people break games and made for ways, and it's fine as long as you don't say I'm the best. I'm this.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what be getting me. That's what I was gonna say. Like the main thing that I never really approved of was the I guess you would say the first person shooters that claim they're the best, but then later on get caught using like hacks and stuff like that. See, that's where the problem comes in at, because don't nobody really care if somebody cheat, but don't go around making it seem like that's all your skill, and then later on,
Yeah.
everybody gotta find out you was cheating, because not only is that gonna like ruin the relationships you got with the people that you cheated against, like on the game with, it's gonna tarnish what you're trying to build. Especially
like
because not everybody gonna look at you sideways like, huh, okay, we know you lying about playing video games, so it's like,
See, I'm terrible, and that's why I do it. Like I'm not a pro StarCraft player, so there's no way I could breeze through those levels. Like I'm just not that organized. But the storyline's fantastic. It's got a great story, and I love it.
Lowest live scripts in the league. What?
Nah, trust me, I'm bronze 4. If I scripted, I would not be that low.
You silver
All right,
one.
my bad, Campbell, go ahead.
No, I would say like for the Minecraft community, who's very large, and I believe, couple months ago, all these speedrunner guys got exposed faking their videos that they're surviving 100 days in hardcore Minecraft, 100 days in modded hardcore Minecraft, and they got exposed for being fake because they pump out videos every day, and it's hard to do if you're doing 100 days in Minecraft, 100 days in real life.
Mhm.
And it's funny. Well, I just find it funny because it's the fan base you built and the fan base that could turn your back on you.
yeah.
And
And here's my thing. I wonder how things will be in the next 10 years.
true. But that's the thing though too, is like the anti-cheat softwares are getting super adept. Riot has their system, which is kernel level. For those of you who don't know, kernel level is basically the deepest you can go into your hardware settings. I actually don't like the fact that it is kernel level now. I understand it. And they are bringing that system over to League, because there are a lot of scripters, there are a lot of things like that. And in a multiplayer setting, I don't condone cheating at all. I don't care if it's a glitch, I don't care if it's a hack, I don't condone it at all. It is fucking bullshit. Making it unfair for other people because you're using an exploit isn't fair. If you cannot match the skills of the people you're playing with, stop ruining the game for the people who are playing it fair. That's just not right.
So, actually, I have a question about that then. Because there's a famous clip in CSGO specifically where a team exploited a map bug that has been patched since. Everybody knew about it, but this team was the only one who used it. One team used it professionally. I believe it was Fnatic back in the day, and they actually won their game. If it's a bug that everybody knows about, does that make it okay, or is it just...
It really depends on the game, in all honesty, because I remember playing Quake 3. There was a bug on the 4th map where you could fall through the floor and not die, and shoot upwards, and it wouldn't hit the walls. So if you had a rocket launcher, you could kill people like crazy. And so when I was playing ladder tournaments, that was actually banned. That map was automatically banned. So you had to play different maps.
Yeah.
But if it's known to the developers, okay, and you are playing solo queue, I don't think it's a problem because they're probably patching it out. If you're at the pro level and you're using an exploit, you do not get the win. You get disqualified.
Fair
because
enough.
if it's an exploit, you are the pros. You're not supposed to be hacking the game to win. That's one of the reasons why even League of Legends has referees on stage to make sure that you don't have macros and scripts on your keyboards and mice and all that shit, right? I've never seen refs actually take action unless there's a pause in the game for whatever reason. But in the competitive world, like, I don't think that's an advantage. But on the flip side too, there's also the argument to be made. Like, let's use League of Legends for example. If an item is super broken, is it okay to use it? Well, yes, because the developers did it, right? So it is kind of a catch-22. So it really depends on the circumstance.
Feel like if it's a bug, like if you're playing competitively and it's a bug that, like, of course, like y'all said, everybody knows, but we all know, like, it's a bug that obviously is a bug. I feel like, why try to use something to get an upper hand, even if you know it's going to be temporary? That's still like a skill issue, because once that bug leaves, what will you have?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the point of even doing it? I that's just with competitive gaming. Like,
Yep.
Solo playing and stuff like that, yeah, I wouldn't have an issue with it because, it's solo playing. Of course, everybody most likely gonna be exploiting that bug. But if you playing like team co-op or whatnot, and there's one squad, like y'all said, just using this exploit to win championships and shit, I still think that's like a skill issue.
I'm gonna leave the last notes, and then we're gonna change gears to our favorite topic here. So I think that in the gaming world, there's a lot of things that can happen, that do happen. I mean, the games are developed by people. We all make mistakes. I mean, I remember, was it CSGO, I think? They had the gun that was one shot, one kill because the hitbox was so large. And they had to patch that out, but it was like the most useless gun, and then a bug happened, and it was like the most popular gun for like 2 weeks. And people who used the gun like climbed the ladder so high, and they had to kind of nerf it and all that kind of shit. But when it comes to the developers, I mean, sometimes they'll leave these bugs in there on purpose, and sometimes they won't. In fact, I think the CSGO team it was the Call of Duty team. They said, oh yeah, no, we fixed the ping by lying about what your ping is. And everyone's like, oh, the game is so great. It's like, we literally didn't change anything. We just changed the way the numbers displayed. And people were like, oh, your game is crap. It's slow. You guys ruined the game. And they're like, yeah, so we changed it so that, it looks like your ping is good. And they're like, oh, it's so good. It's optimized. It's better than I've ever played. And he's like, we literally didn't change anything other than what's displayed on the screen. So, I mean, people have a really hard time of accepting what it is that they're seeing. I've mentioned before, one of the things that they could always do for competitive integrity is ping matching, would be within the same scope of ping so that you're not blaming lag. I was playing Heroes of the Storm last week with my brother, and we were stuck with a guy who took 5 minutes to load into the game, and his ping was like 950.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I'm glad we're playing against bots, because if we were playing against people, like, this would have been a fucking nightmare, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I love Heroes of the Storm, but my internet is so bad. I'm like, well, then why are you getting matched with us? Now, granted, it was an AI game, so you just matched with everybody. That's fine. But if it had been a people versus people game, like, you're now playing a 5v4, and that's unfair, right? So that kind of stuff the devs have to keep an eye on. But, that's kind of where I stand with the whole cheating thing. I personally think that it's fine if you're the only one who's playing. I genuinely do think you should finish the game first. I mean, I don't have money to play new games, so I haven't done any of that yet. Not recently anyway, but that's kind of where I look at it. New topic. We did not talk about anime last time, but now we're a couple weeks into the new season. I want to know what you guys are liking, what you're not liking, what is hypey that should be hypey, and what was hypey and is supremely disappointing. I want to know where you guys are sitting on the new season.
Chain Soldier and Ishira is probably my favorite. I haven't watched much of this season yet because I've been doing some catch up. And I also want a couple episodes to drop on a lot of these animes, just so I'm not stuck on trying to judge it off one episode. Solo leveling right now to me is mid. I heard it's supposed to ramp up, but it's mid to me. I'm not.
The first episode was not good. The second one was slightly better, but that's not hard. I'm giving it my 3-episode watch, and then if the third episode don't grab me, I'm done.
And then the continuation of Shangri-La Frontier.
Shangri-La, yep.
Yeah, whatever, same thing. The second course comes out, and it should come out today, actually.
They've been saying that show updated for weeks, and no, it hasn't. I think it's been other languages, bro. Because
No,
that Crunchyroll.
They said it's supposed to air this weekend because the actual air date got moved in Japan. So supposedly it's coming this week. I'll believe it when it's actually live.
They dropped a 14 and a half episode last week, like a review of what happened in the season, but that was whack. But second course should return. Those are the kind of the ones I'm kind of been watching. I don't really have. I don't know. It's kind of a mid-season. Not gonna lie.
Any of you guys
been
got?
able to watch anything from this season yet because I'm in massive catch up. Like, it's gonna be a while till I watch anything from this season, to be honest.
Well, as that's the case for you, what are you catching up on that's actually really good?
Right now, just Shadow and Emesis, or however it is what I'm catching up on. That I find really good, and what's not so good, mostly because the animation is still JJK season 2. I keep bringing it up, but I'm just slowed down on it because the animation is just making it really hard to get through.
On speaking of JJK animation, their lead head-hunted animator has joined the One Piece team, so that's going to be spicy and interesting.
Wait, so okay, then, because I was reading this article and I don't know, I forgot which show it was. Well, which show it was that had their production studios back off, or what like company that was that had like a
Mappa?
fraction of their production studio like back off and do their own thing?
That was Mappa.
That was Mappa?
That was because of Jujutsu Kaisen. What's that?
Oh, okay.
So what happened was they had Jujutsu Kaisen, and then they took on a bunch of other projects, and they didn't hire new people. They didn't hire new animators. They just said, we need to do all of this in this short turnaround. And so Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 has blocks that wasn't finished on time for air date. So you get it's like watching the pain fight in Naruto. But at least with the Naruto, it was multiple studios because they're pumping out an episode every week. Whereas Mappa had one group of animators doing everything. They were doing the movies, they were doing the shows, and then they took on One Punch Man, and then this whole backlash happened, and now they're doing a 2-studio animation for One Punch Man to make sure that doesn't get fucked up. So, because One Punch Man was originally done by Madhouse. Now, Madhouse has a really good studio, but they treat the creators like shit, is my understanding. Mappa treats the animators like shit and the creators like gold. So it's kind of a, like, what do you do? But that's kind of where that situation is. And their head animator went over to One Piece. And the way that One Piece is ramping up their animation, because if you look at the animation now to 10 years ago to 20 years ago, the evolution is fucking insane. Like they're
always has gotten good though. Like I think that's probably why a lot of people like it, because like you said, you literally see every art.
Yep.
The animations literally get better. It did.
And that's one of the things that has been good. But going back to the topic at hand, before we go on a tangent of Mappa, because we could talk about Mappa for hours. What are you and Kevin watching that is actually hyped this season? What do you guys like back to my original question. What do you find that's really good? What's really bad?
I haven't watched any
Now-
so
Kev.
I'm gonna let Kevin go first.
I just said I haven't watched anything.
Okay, what are you watching?
Just shows that I watched in the past that's non-anime.
Percy
okay.
Jackson.
Percy Jackson,
I started that.
Percy Jackson, the Defender saga from Netflix.
Right.
So I just finished Daredevil season 3. I watched it, then I never finished it. Punisher season 2, Iron Fist season 2, and Jessica Jones season 3. And also watching the show Reacher on Prime. Very
Reacher's
good.
really good.
I know Finale was awesome. So watched that. And then just got announced that Invincible season 2 is coming back.
Yep.
Great. Besides that, just trying to work out trying to work out and also just finishing my own little writing project.
Sounds cool to me. Yeah, I'm really impressed with Reacher. It feels like a really well-paced show for just 8-episode seasons.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. And also I think they have Lee Child also be on set and just approve the
Yep.
show as well.
Yeah, the only thing he didn't like about Alan Richardson is he's not 6'5", he's 6'2". Other than that, whatever. I'm like, the problem is he sold the rights originally, so they got the Tom Cruise movies, and sorry, but no. All right,
First one's okay, but it's not Jack Reacher. It's
No.
more Tom Cruise being Tom.
Yep. That when it comes to Tom Cruise, there are movies with Tom Cruise and Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah.
So Tom Cruise movies are like the Top Guns and all those kinds of things. Movies with Tom Cruise are like Last Samurai, The Firm, those kinds. A Few Good Men. Yep.
I don't know.
When tech goes wrong.
Just unplugging my PC. Yep, there we go.
No, I will say also Tom Cruise has a tendency to like overtake when his production studios in there. He can like overtakes the whole project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Mission Impossible is the only one that works.
I watched the first one. I liked it. I watched the second one. I hated it. I think I watched the third one, and then I never watched another one ever again after that.
So from then, just watch the fourth through the feature ones because Brad Bird, the guy who made The Incredibles, directed the fourth one, and it's beautiful. And then
Okay.
Christian McQuire has taken over the other films, which he did the direction of Jack Reacher. So if you like the direction style of that, you'll like the direction style of the Mission Impossible movies, and also, holy crap, the stunts in those movies are phenomenal.
Sounds
In
like
the
a plan.
feature films.
So for those of you who don't know, Kevin is clearly a cinephile. All right, Decal. Let's do some anime. What are you watching, man? What are you watching?
I was going to my watch list. That's why I kept looking down because
I'm same monitor or other monitor. I've got mine open too. What you got for me? What you got?
because I had to type in some names. So Hackar season 2 just started. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I like the first season. I didn't watch the second episode yet, but I watched the first one, and per usual, it's juicy. It's full of life. They always going on these little secret little side quest missions. Well, not side quest, but like these little secret society missions and stuff like that, because they're a secret society collecting these cards that give you powers, basically, in so many words. So yeah, I have my hope for that one. I've been trying to get everybody to watch, season 1, but still nobody want to listen to me. Nobody want to listen to me. I be trying to tell them, like, watch this. I let them just wait until it become mainstream. We got Hackar. So I've been rewatching Blue Exorcist. This is not new. This is old.
Yep.
I have mixed feelings about it because it's like, I don't know. I felt like I expected more, but
It's one of those series that if you get into it, you get into it, and if you don't, you don't. It wasn't for me, but my wife loves it.
I like it, but I just feel like the pacing like stayed the same.
Yep.
It didn't go nowhere. That's what I mean. Like, don't get me wrong. It's been good. It's been entertaining, but it's like, for example, Ren started his like Blue Flame training, I guess you could say like episode 15 of season 1 out of I think like 25 episodes, that one. And then the second season only got 12. He was still doing his flame training. He just, I think like on season 2, episode 7, he just finally was able to light 2 candles like simultaneously.
Yep.
It shouldn't have took that. I mean, I don't make shows or write mangas and stuff like that. I just
Yeah.
feel like it shouldn't took that long. Stuff like that kind of like bothers me because it's
Yeah.
like y'all talking about y'all supposed to be saving the world, and yet this man still can't control his powers. So how y'all finna do that? What's
Yeah.
Right.
what we doing at this point? But like I said, I'ma still, watch season 3. So that was my little iffy one. That's my 50-50 one, even though it's an old one. And Kingdom. I'm so glad Cameron had told me about that one because it's like everybody need to just read it and everybody just need to watch the anime. Like, read the manga and watch the anime. It's so gas. Like, there has not been a dull moment. I literally had to binge watch basically what? It's the 5th season now. I binge watched 4 seasons in like maybe 2 weeks.
Yep.
Jeez.
I remember like staying up one night and literally watching the entire season, I think 3. I just couldn't. I called myself. I was about to go to sleep. I remember like it was yesterday. I was asleep at 1 o'clock, and then this fight happened, and it blew my mind. And I was like, okay, I just need to see what happened next. And
Right.
Yeah.
every episode after that, I look up. It's the morning time. My eyes like burning. I cried at an episode or 2. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I was just like, what did Kimmer like? What did he get me into? Because ain't no way I should be this invested in some goddamn Chinese war history. I mean, don't get me wrong. I play Dynasty Warriors and shit like that.
Right.
But it's like, this should not be that
Yeah.
goddamn interesting seeing it like animated and played out like this. So
Uh-huh.
if you into like old school wars where they ride horses and actually use tactics to fight each other, and you really need to watch and read Kingdom. Like, that shit is amazing.
Yep.
But
That was amazing.
I got a whole bunch of other things that I'll watch, but I'm not gonna take up all y'all time. But for
Well-
me, this season, I'm not gonna say it's bad, but I'm not gonna say it's the best. But it's a good balance for me because I got a lot of stuff that I'm watching and reading. It's
Yeah.
not just a handful.
Sure.
I'm actually
Well, for me, my wife and I are trying a lot of new series. Some hit and some really didn't. So I'm just gonna fire off a bunch and give you my basic thoughts. I have a rule that if the first episode doesn't catch me, I drop it right away. If it looks like it has potential, I'll go up to 3 episodes, and then other than that, I won't waste my time. Right. So first one, Solo Leveling, we've already discussed. Right. I tried Mashal, could not get into it. The opening, however, banger. It's all over TikTok right now.
yeah, my wife liked that show. I put on
Classroom of the Elite, my wife loves. I honestly haven't watched it yet. She says that the 3rd season is actually really, really good. Tsukamichi is back. That's an isekai one, which is really weird because on paper it looks like it should be mid at best. But for whatever reason, it just works. It is a fun little isekai anime. Chain Soldier has an interesting premise. I don't know how good it's gonna get. I'm giving it the 3 episode treatment. I understand why Kimmer likes it. I can see why he likes it, but because I've been watching anime for so long, there's a lot of tropes there that I just don't want to watch.
yeah.
One that blew my mind away, and apparently Taiga, shout out to Taiga, really loves this one. It's called A Sign of Affection. So if you like romance anime, that one is really good. It's about a deaf girl who meets a guy who's he travels the world, he does things, he speaks like 5 different languages, so obviously he's going to start learning sign language as the plot goes on. But it's just like a really down to earth, relatable anime. As for people who like relatable characters, modern day anime, and good romance, it is a fantastic series. I am super impressed with it. Let's see here. What else we got? Hakado gals are super adorable. Cliche as fuck. I dropped it after one episode. It's just like, really? You know, she's excited because he's from Tokyo. Like, fuck off.
Tokyo.
The Witch and the Beast, we watched one episode. Super interesting premise. Horribly told. I will not be watching that one again. Basically, it's about these two that are hunting down witches, trying to break curses and stuff like that. The premise is interesting. The animation is beautiful. The storytelling is atrocious. Like, it's fucking terrible. Fun tier character Tomozaki is back. I haven't watched season 2 yet. I haven't finished season 1, but I did enjoy that one to a point. That's one of the ones that you watch like on a Saturday afternoon when you've got nothing new to watch.
Right.
The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, I watched for the first time last night. For an isekai anime, I love trope breakers. The main character wasn't supposed to be summoned to the other world. And his teacher is not an old person. She is a fucking batshit crazy woman, like overpowered as fuck. And like mean as hell. And she has green hairs. It's called The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic.
I actually, it was crazy. It popped up on like shows you may like, but I just didn't.
Think of it, the way that I'm thinking the premise is basically, think of Tsunade from Naruto.
Right.
Like, they use healing magic as a way of making themselves overpowered as fuck. That's the way it seems like it's gonna be. Let's see here. What else we got? Villainous level 99. I may be a hidden boss, but I'm not the final boss. For a villainous anime, an isekai anime, and an overpowered level fantasy anime, it has a very unique premise in the fact that she does not give a shit about anyone. She has no love interest, at least not yet. Not the princes, not the main characters, not the nobles. So for a villainous anime, I'm giving it a 3-episode treatment. So far, the story pacing is good, but I've only watched the first episode. So
Right.
that's kind of where I'm at. 7th Time Loop, Villainous Enjoys a Carefree Life. That one is a really neat premise. It's an isekai anime, but every time she dies, she goes back to her original spawn point. So she's on her 7th life. So she's already lived 30 years more than she should have done, or 35 years or whatever it is. And she gets a new, different way of her life changing every time. And this is her 7th one, which is completely different. And it's kind of unique, and I like it. The pacing seems...
is different.
Every time she was revived, starts right at the same point, but she lives her life a different way each time. So she gains different skills and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, well, in one she was a merchant, in one she was like this and this. So she has lots of skills because she remembers everything.
Mhm.
That was actually pretty good.
Oh, okay. That's
I see where Jonathan Hickman got his inspiration more of a stagger.
Yeah. The next one is Tales of Wedding Rings. I've only watched the first episode. If you like horny, HE harem anime, it's for you. Basically, he follows a girl back to her world after being friends with her growing up in our world. And then she gives him her wedding ring, which is the wedding ring for the Light Warrior or whatever, to save the world from the Demon King or whatever. And she was brought to our world for her safety because everybody would want to steal that ring. And she gives it to him, her childhood friend. But in the credits, it shows him wearing 10 rings. So he's probably collecting women from all over the fucking place. But they're married. Like, he gets married in the first episode. So if you like that kind of like, it knows what it is. It is hot garbage, but it's fun so far. This is my dark horse for probably the best anime this season. And yet it's another isekai. This season's very heavy isekai heavy. Actually, no, this one's not an isekai. I'll shut up. Is The Unwanted Undead Adventurer. Oh my god, is this is like right up there with Frieren type storytelling. It is so good.
It's on my watch list. I just haven't watched it yet.
First 5
The title photo caught my interest.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes, he goes into a dungeon. He finds a new place in the dungeon that's never been discovered before, finds a dragon and dies. And then he wakes up dead. And he's trying to rebuild his life from there.
Interesting.
It's an interesting premise. I watched the newest episode last night and I was just like, oh, like it pulls on your heartstrings and everything. Like it is a really good, well-told anime. I'm really impressed by that one. What else? Another one that my wife started watching. She just turned it on while we were watching anime and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's called Sasuke and Peeps. Okay. So it's about a middle-aged Japanese businessman, overworked, never going anywhere, nothing. One of his coworkers is showing off her new cat that she got. He's like, oh, I wish I had a cat. Goes to the pet store. Cats are too expensive, so he adopts this bird. The bird's name is Peeps. Now, this bird is a denizen of another world.
Okay.
And it's a fantasy world. So he starts learning magic and stuff like that. But he goes between worlds. And there's a time difference. So he spends a couple of hours in the other world. It's a couple of minutes here. So he starts learning magic, but then he starts going to like the Japanese convenience stores and bringing stuff from there as a merchant and selling it in the other world. And he's trying to build basically like a retirement life in the other world. And then a whole bunch of other stuff ensues. That one, the premise, I was like, what the fuck is this? It's a classic case of like a weird idea that is just done right. And I'm liking some of these isekais where they can go back and forth between worlds.
Sure.
For me, that's
Pretty cool.
Like a decent show though.
It's a fun little show. It's an isekai, so it's obviously not the greatest anime ever, but it's actually really good. It's very well told. The first one of those ones that goes back and forth is one anime I'll always recommend to everybody is Gate. Came out like 2015. They still don't know if we're getting a season 3. They've never officially canceled it. That show was one of the best isekais I've ever fucking seen. By far and away. Is so good. What else do we got here? We got Dr. Elise, the Royal Lady with the Lamp. This one is actually surprisingly good. So she lived her life. She died. She was reincarnated into our world. She was like just found as a kid and had no parents, grew up to be a doctor, dies in a plane crash, and gets reincarnated back to her old world before all of the trouble started. So she has a chance to relive her original life over again. But she has all of the knowledge of being a doctor. Because in their first life, she was married to the prince. She became the empress and she was burned at the stake. Because a whole bunch of shit happened.
Shit.
Yeah. So it's kind of yet another isekai premise here. What do we got here? Yuri Yatsura's back for second season. Kingdom's back, which we already talked about. This one here we watch is called Meiji Gekken 1874. So it takes place around the same time that Kenshin does. It's a historical anime. It is like a cheap goth of Kenshin. The first episode, I was so bored. Like, the animation is mediocre. The storytelling is fucking terrible. And I'm just like, why? Like, it literally makes even some of the characters you meet look like the Oniwabanchu or the ninja group in Kenshin. It's like almost a ripoff. It's kind of stupid. Except the main character does actually kill. What else have I watched here? I watched a lot this week, trying to catch up on stuff. Furin's back, of course, still fantastic. Like that, yeah. It was best anime last season for a reason. It is a fantastic one-stop shop for how to tell a proper story. It's so good.
Bring back Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes.
Didn't they?
I have no idea if they're making another.
Oh, I think they
like,
are.
Right.
They got like 10 Yu-Gi-Ohs out.
Yeah, for real.
So the Apocryphy Diaries is back. My wife got me into that one. That is an anime that is so much better than it has any right to be. So much better. It's is it a Chinese anime? I think it is. It's done in Japan, but it's based in like the Chinese courtesans and stuff like that. In the unification dynasties, and I think that's where it is. It's actually really good. Shangri-La Frontier's back. It's one that Kim was saying before he got kicked off the internet. I hope he comes back. Otherwise, we're gonna have to have technical difficulties listed on the cast all day. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush is what's back this season.
I'm surprised it's still on.
I'm not.
I'm not, because the card game itself still has a massive following.
And not only
So,
that, it's popular with the Japanese youth and teens. So they all have their own iterations of Yu-Gi-Oh! But those are the ones that I've watched. There's a fuck ton of anime that's come out. There's a couple that I haven't watched yet. But those are the ones that I've watched. I haven't watched Delicious in Dungeon. Apparently, everyone I've spoken to from a North American context says that it's good, but the anime community at whole seems to think it's pretty mid. So it's kind of, what do we do? So for next season, for spring, I'm most looking forward to just Konosuba coming back. If you haven't watched Konosuba, it is by far and away one of the most funniest, best animes ever. The movie is comedy perfection. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already, and then look forward to the new season coming out. I think that's going to be it for today. Unless you guys got any final thoughts, anything else you want to recommend? I mean, DeKel and Kevin, thank you for joining us. It's always a blast hanging out with you guys.
Thank you for having us, man. Look, it feels good to finally be like a guest on somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way: you guys are more than welcome to join us anytime. Just Kev, watch more anime.
We tell him that all the time, but he gonna get around to it.
Well, no, just 20 minutes a day, 1 episode a day. Just watch 7 episodes a week. There you go.
That's what I told him. Find him a show that he would be interested in, preferably one that ain't nobody watched, because that way you could put us on or something. Yeah, you would gain your true anime fan stamp right there. Boom.
See, it's hard to find an anime that no one's watched for 10 or just seen a while.
Infinity and nothing. I got you, bro.
Les, I've been watching anime longer than you guys have been alive. So I mean, come on, cut me some slack.
I know, it's just like we're here maybe naming like 3 animes we're watching. You're like, yeah, I have this one and that one and this one, and oh, there's that.
Well,
It's like the funny thing about that is with me and Kevin, it's like complete opposites. I don't know anything about like comics or Marvel and DC, and him and Devin do. He don't know a lick about anime and manga, and me and Devin do. So our podcast always be like Kevin and Devin will be talking, and then Devin and Kevin talking. It is like,
but that's what keeps things interesting, right? I mean, I bet you Kevin and I could be like, oh, these are some awesome movies to watch from like 30 years ago. And you guys would be like, I've never even fucking heard of that movie. Right? I used to watch movies all the time. It wasn't until they got super expensive here. Like for my wife and I go to a movie, it's like $50. So I don't watch it. And then in the house, why would I watch a movie when I can watch anime? Like,
hey, speaking of a movie that's gonna turn 30 years old soon, Space Jam.
Oh my god!
Love that movie. Everyone's rolling his eyes like, God, I fucking hate that.
Sorry, but the best of those movies, of all those movies, is still Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I will accept no arguments.
Yes, the live action animation combination, and also it is the first time Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny ever meet.
Yep.
And only time.
So I do have a funny story since we are bringing up movies and older movies. So my friend's brother for Christmas actually bought him a gun rack because of Wayne's World, just so they could relive the scene where the crazy ex-girlfriend bought Wayne the gun rack, and even said they even went, I don't own a gun, let alone many guns to necessitate a gun rack.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that was amazing.
Fun little tidbit for Wayne's World. Most of you guys don't know, but I am an audiophile. I listen to a obscene amount of music. When they had Bohemian Rhapsody in the first Wayne's World, it was released after Freddie Mercury passed away, but he was sent the clip of the Bohemian Rhapsody scene, and he was laughing and he loved it. So that's kind of a little side note. And because of that scene, Bohemian Rhapsody became, for the longest time, the #1 single in the world because it hit #1 in the charts for a second time. Was at that time, I think it was like 15 years, 16 years after the song was originally released. And it's the only song at the time that beat out Michael Jackson's Thriller, because it went an entire another year at #1 because the movie reintroduced the song to the world.
That's so I love to hear that.
That's dope.
Yeah. So we're going to end on that happy note there. If you guys have any questions, comments, if you want to see these guys again, feel free to drop us a like, subscribe, comment, all that other YouTube essential stuff. I honestly just, if you like us, like us. If you don't, that's okay too. All right. But that'll be it for us today. And we'll sign off and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Peace out.